All right. So this is not a real political channel here. This will probably be the only time that I ever talk about politics on this channel here. If our government was set up the way it should be, by the people for the people, how many of your representatives have you brought in office actually votes the way you want them to vote? How many are actually defending what you feel is right? Because that's what our representatives are sent to Washington to do. They're supposed to represent us. They're supposed to be voting how their constituents want us want how we want them to vote. So all I know is when one of these candidates were in an administration, because believe it or not, whatever you want to say, you want to say, oh, it's not Harris's administration. Well, she's a part of it. And Biden, he hasn't been able to really complete a coherent sentence or walk up a flight of stairs since he's taken office. Harris has almost been a ghost. So I just want people to critically think out there. Do we really believe that it was all Biden's policies being written? Now, I want you to look it up because this channel, like I said, I want you guys to do your own critical thinking. You're really only going to hear my opinions. I'm going to try to be looking up facts as we go if we can. I will get better at being able to, insert GIFs or certain slides in there because I actually found some sort of programming. I don't know if it'll be this one I stick with. But just take a look. Out of these administrations, which one, and again, you're going to say, oh, well, that was Biden. But she is a part of the Biden administration. Which one of these administrations signed the most executive orders? Because take a look and look how many executive orders Biden signed on day one. On day one, he beat the amount of executive orders Trump signed throughout his whole 4 years. I really want you guys to think back, use your critical thinking. In the 4 years Trump was in office, how were you able to take trips? Because I know me and my family were able to. Were you able to have a full refrigerator full of groceries? Because I know my family was able to. Now, don't get it twisted. This ain't a campaign for Trump, because I think these people are the best people suited to run our country? No. Why does it always come down to what they were saying the last time, lesser of two evils, which you picked the wrong one. I mean, the only time where I'm from, the only time I seen gas under $3 the whole last 3 years or so was this last month. Of course, we're going into an election cycle, and now it's back over $3. I just don't want people to be duped, because this is what they do. Going into an election, they're going to try to make things as good as they can for you. And I need you to remember what happened the past 3 years of how little you have had. Because I'll tell you what, me and my wife, we've only been able to take one trip this year, these last 3 years, and that was our honeymoon. When Trump was in office, we were able to take a trip every single one of our vacations. And again, this ain't meant to be a political channel, and this will probably be the only time that I ever talk about politics. I don't want people to be duped. And again, do I believe Trump was the best pick? No, I really wish they wouldn't have picked him. I wish they would have picked younger mind. I was actually looking towards Ramaswamy being the president because he's a young mind. I like people who didn't make their money in public office. Biden, he's made most of his money in public office. Let's ask ourselves. Let's ask ourselves. On a public office salary, how is he a millionaire? How? Trump, he didn't make himself millions of dollars while he was in office. Harris, she likes, her campaign is saying, oh, he's going to cut a bunch of taxes for the rich. Well, I was paying less taxes when Trump was in office as well. And you know what? I'm sorry to say, she's sitting there saying, oh, he's going to cut taxes for the rich. Well, I'm sorry, but I'm going to vote for the person who the millionaires hate. They hate Trump. Okay? If he was going to automatically cut taxes for the rich and the millionaires, why wouldn't they all be behind him? Ask yourselves. Do you want to vote for the person who, all the millionaires like and want you to vote for? Because if she was going to tax these people so hard, why would they all be behind her, rooting for her? They despise Trump. Ask yourselves that. Why? Why? If he's going to cut taxes for them all, why do most of them dislike him? I think this is what our country has lost the most, or one of the most, is critical thinking. Stop being told what to think. Think for yourselves. Weigh what has happened in your lifetime and weigh what you want, what future we want for our kids. Because I'm telling you, one thing I dislike seeing so much is seeing how divided our neighborhoods are. You can have a Trump sign right next to someone who has a Harris sign, next to someone who has a Trump sign, and then another Harris sign. We are not going to be a strong country if we allow them to let us be this divided on every issue, on every topic. Okay? And now, at the risk of making some people angry, and I don't really care if people get angry or not, but one video I saw him talking about is, why is it okay for a transgender to come into a school and read books? Which, look, if you live your life the way you want to live your life, that's up to you. It is completely up to you. No one is saying you can't live your life the way you want. But why is it that a transgender can come into a school and read, but the minute prayer is mentioned in a school, people lose their minds? Why is that? That's because this country's gone away from what matters the most. Jesus. This is the person who I'm relying on this election season. I'm not relying on Trump or Harris to make our lives better. He's the light. He's the way. Let's all try to go back to walking that narrow path that leads us to him. I mentioned transgender people going to schools reading books. Like I said, hey, no one's trying to stop you from living the life you want to live. But if you're so worried about us subjecting your kid to prayers, why do my kids have to be subjected to a transgender coming to read books? Why do they have to be subjected to this pronoun stuff that, I don't necessarily agree with it. I'm not saying that you can't. Okay, see, the America used to be able to be any different beliefs. No one is going to come and force you not to be living the way you want to live. And lastly, I'm just going to end on this. Blessed are those who thirst and hunger for their fill of righteousness, for they shall be filled. Matthew 5:6. God bless. Use your critical thinking. And I do love all of you. Even though some of the people on my page are going to say, oh, not the police officers. Well, that police officer that I caught in the middle of his meal, I do apologize for him, interrupting his meal. He even told me, oh, I don't know if it's still warm. And that made me feel even worse that I interrupted him. He was a good public servant. And I'll tell you, those are the type of police I would get fully behind. I have a commenter on here saying, "Oh, you were on private." He doesn't. That guy. You don't even know where I was, bud. You heard the officer say, "I have as much right to be there as him," and you still didn't listen, which makes me believe you're a pretty big darn tyrant yourself. FAFOYT. So, maybe find more Jesus in your life too. And I love you as well, because honestly, what you saw in some of those videos wasn't me. I was concussed. I showed you guys that I had traumatic brain injury that isn't fully healed, and they say might never fully be healed. All I know is I'm doing my best to love other people and move forward, and I pray for this country, even though our end goal should be walking that narrow path. Again, God bless y'all. I hope you have a great day.